good hello, and welcome to a brand new playthrough on the channel. This is Star Trek Resurgence. So when I was finishing Jedi Survivor and Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I decided to do a spin the wheel and see what games come up, and then let you, all of you vote on them. I did that for the first game, and then I was trying to work out what I wanted to play for the second one, and I found out that this game that I've been looking forward to for 2 years, Star Trek Resurgence, was releasing today. So I decided this would make for a good second playthrough because I'm looking forward to playing it. It's by the team that was once called Telltale, or a lot of the team at least. They went, once the Telltale went bankrupt, they went and created a new development studio called Dynamic Labs. So a lot of them went off and did that, and then after they went and created that, they got the license to doing a Star Trek game. And then Telltale has since been bought back up, and I think there's a new team there. There might be still some of the old team there, and they're going to be doing The Wolf Among Us 2 later. But I really enjoyed most of the Telltale games I've played, and so I thought, why not give Star Trek a go? Because I like Star Trek. Most of Star Trek. There are obviously parts of Star Trek that are really not that good. But most of Star Trek is phenomenal. Deep Space Nine, you know what? The first couple of seasons are rough to get into, but I can say the exact same thing for Next Generation, if I'm honest. The first 2 seasons of that are pretty rough to get into as well. But then after that, Deep Space Nine is absolutely brilliant. The 3rd season of Picard finished in like a month ago, and that was great. That was peak Star Trek, that. Upcoming later next month, or beginning of next month, sometime next month, is the 2nd season of Strange New Worlds. I like Star Trek, so I'm gonna play a Star Trek game. I did start a new game, and then I realised my audio wasn't recording, so I quit out during the opening title screen so I could do a new intro. So we're going to actually delete that. Yes, thanks, because I didn't see anything aside from like the first minute of the captain's log. This is a Dynamic Labs adventure. The relationships and events you are about to experience will something about the choices you make. Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Angarl, captain of the USS Vengeance.
Captain's log, stardate 57931.4. The crew is restless. After spending too many months piecing our ship back together,
it's not great on the frame rate, is it?
Venture out on a new mission. And the crew isn't letting this unprecedented ion storm slow them down. They're ready for something different. I know I am. Perhaps more than any of them.
And this is where I exited the cutscene the first time.
Fortunately, nothing ever stays the same. It's entropy, the nature of the universe. Change is inevitable. And while entropy says order gives way to chaos, in this case, change is good.
Okay. Jared
Our
Emerson
new first
Johnson.
officer is en route to the Resolute. Jara Rydek. I know she'll bring a welcome dose of new blood to the crew.
So this is the first officer, and she looks to be Bajoran. And we have... I don't have a controller plugged in. Controls... No, we're doing keyboard. Interact via phaser is left mouse button. There we go. That worked.
Thanks.
So we
No
caught
problem.
I'm not great with flying. But these little shuttles are the worst.
You don't like flying. And yet, you joined Starfleet.
There's a reason I'm not a pilot.
You should try it sometime.
The crew is impacted by the things you say. Okay.
Sorry, I'm a little anxious.
I hadn't noticed.
I'm on my way to my first assignment. When we get to the starbase, I'm transferring on to the Resolute.
Right.
So am I.
It won't be easy for Jara to step in at the 11th hour like this. But if she's half the officer I knew she could become when she was a cadet at Starfleet Academy, she'll
Wait,
be
she's
the
not
ex-soldier
Bajoran?
ship needs right now.
Bajoran's ridge doesn't go that high. It only goes to about here. Unless they've redesigned Bajorans. Hang on. Wait a second. What race is she? I'm trying to remember. And the guy whose data pad or she caught looked human to me. But they've introduced a whole bunch of near-human species in recent stuff, so he might not be, but he looked human. But she's not Bajoran because she doesn't. The ridge goes all the way up. What are you? Hang on. Do I have like a check-in at security? Use WASD to move around. Can I open settings? No. Oh, I press space to open settings? That's weird. Okay. Your crew. Ensign Calloway was grateful for Jara's sense of humor when he was nervous on the shuttle flight. Okay. Carter, Jara. Okay. We're going to turn subtitles on because I didn't realize I hadn't turned them on, so they are on now. Okay, shooting, stealth, we'll go through most of that as we need it. Controls. Okay, tricorder modes, Q and E, movement, run with shift. Space is pause for some bizarre reason. Aim phaser, interact, resume. Okay.
A starbase on the very edge of Federation space. Long way from home now.
Okay.
Commander? I'm not usually such a nervous wreck, by the way. I actually did well at the Academy.
Oh yeah?
Maybe you've heard of the Torvalin test?
Sounds familiar.
It's a tactical simulator that makes the Kobayashi Maru look like a picnic on Pintaris 5. Anyway, I finished in the top 20.
You're bragging.
Not just in my class. I mean, all time. In the history of the Academy. So, there's that.
Only top 20, huh? So I guess there's room for improvement.
Well, it's really, really hard.
So I've heard.
Please place your hand here. Hold it there for a few seconds.
Okay. So we scan hand.
Welcome, Commander Rydek.
Wait, you're Jara Rydek? You absolutely crushed the Torvalin test. You finished in what, like the top 3?
That would be me.
Now I'm really... It's an honor to meet you, Commander.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize before. I just came off the shuttle and was glad to be on solid ground.
The pleasure is mine, Ensign.
Paul Calloway.
Good to meet you.
You're gonna be a good
Commander
first
Irma is
officer.
expecting you. He's in the concourse just ahead.
See you on the Resolute.
I kinda like him. He's trying to make a good impression and keeps digging himself a hole, so I kinda like that. Find Commander Urmon. Oh, I really don't like the motion blur.
Good day, Commander.
Good day. Storm report. Okay. Is that what the Resolute looks like? That's an interesting design for a ship. Okay, what else have we got? Strategic applications, command tech center. I love so the one thing that I know a lot of people like it. This is my least favorite of the next gen era uniforms. I like the Voyager one with the color all the way across the top and then black the rest of the distance. That's my favorite of the next gen era ones. But you know, it's not bad. Anyway, let's continue. Gee, the mouse is like I know I've said it in other things. I like a sensitive mouse, but it is ultra sensitive in this. But I don't see a way to adjust that, so I guess we're gonna live with it.
If I remember my briefing, Commander Ermont is a Bolian.
Oh, cool.
So I'm looking for someone with blue skin.
Well, yes, I'm aware what a Bolian looks like. I'm fully aware that a lot of people won't have. Didn't it say talk?
Yeah, I'm just... Well, I'm not sure where my departure dock is. The Resolute's gonna leave without me.
Look here. The Resolute is leaving from this dock.
Ah, you're right. Nerves must be getting to me.
Okay, so who's this guy? He's...
Thanks so much, Commander.
You're welcome, kid. I don't know what role you are. You're a red shirt, so you gotta be, command somewhere. Or piloting. Examine.
Starbase 128 has 4 docks.
Okay.
I'll replicate myself a meal once I'm on board.
Okay, so... there's a...
Excuse me.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to the edge of the galaxy, Commander Rydek. I'm Commander Jan Ermont, Operations Officer on the Resolute. Commander?
Cool.
I hope there wasn't too much trouble getting here.
Nah.
This storm isn't making anything easy for us right now. I know conditions are less than ideal at the moment.
It was perfectly fine. No trouble at all.
I'm glad to hear it.
Hey, I
We're
don't...
grateful you were able to come fill our first officer vacancy at such short notice. From everything I've read and everything I've heard, we're lucky you were available to us. Coming from a premier starship and all. To our little research vessel.
What exactly have you heard about me?
First in your class at the Academy. Received the Starfleet Award of Valor during the Dominion War.
Oh!
Most recently, Tactical Officer and Chief of Security on the USS Endeavor.
Cool.
You've done your homework?
Like I said, we're very lucky.
NCC 92317. There's the Resolute.
USS Resolute. She may not look like much compared to the bigger ships, but as far as science vessels go, she can more than hold her own. And she doesn't look so bad considering 6 months ago she was nearly cracked in half, venting plasma, fighting for her life.
It was an accident?
Equipment malfunction. An accident suggests fault, but no one's to blame. It was a planned test, but the warp core was pushed beyond its limits. It destabilized the dilithium,
oh, wow.
There was a runaway reaction, and the warp bubble deformed.
Gee, you're lucky.
We thought we could reach a higher resonant frequency, but it was more than she could handle.
You really...
Cost us our first officer and 22 of our crew.
Yeah, I'm surprised you made it out of that in
At the end of the
piece.
day, we're all responsible for each other.
I can't even begin to imagine what that must have been like for you. I'm so sorry for your loss.
Thank you. It does weigh heavy. There are some things you can't forget.
Did you lose anyone close to you?
Too many.
Yeah.
And to that I'll just say...
He's a commander.
have big
He would have
shoes
known
to
a
fill.
lot of them really personally.
Listen. I realize you've known Captain Solana for quite some time. and I'm sure you're ready to bring your best. But I should warn you that when the captain announced you would be the new first officer, there were those who felt it was a mistake, that he should have promoted from within. So
Understandable.
you might want to tread lightly at first. Until they come to value your contributions as much as he does.
Thank you. Always good to have a sense for what you're walking into.
I just thought you ought to know.
I appreciate it.
Starfleet has assigned us a high-priority mission to the Hotari region.
Press
I'll
enter
let the
to see
captain-
the impact of your choices. Ensign Calloway was grateful for the sense of humour. Yep. Jara made a good first impression with Commander Ermont, coming off as inquisitive and appreciative while showing empathy for what the crew of the Resolute suffered. That's... Yeah, I like this.
Brief you on board. I know he's eager to see you.
Will we be mission ready in time?
We have every intention.
This is
The
so
crew has
cool.
been working around the clock to get the ship ready. There's still so much to do.
I like the idea of this sort of game in the Star Trek universe, because Star Trek's not a run-and-gun action sci-fi. It is very much methodical and thoughtful and... Okay, that's a weird badge you've got. Are you a chief officer as opposed to an enlisted?
Stuck. I got just the thing.
Stuck. Hyperspanner, interphasic coil spanner, ODN recoupler, plasma torch is probably going to be the most useful here. Vaporize. There we go. Some more spots to vaporize. I like that I have to think about this and do actual engineering. Oh, I love that. Like, this is what you want from a Star Trek game. Like, to actually have to think it through and be smart and intelligent. Let's turn, thank you. There we go, let's pull out whatever this is. I'm not sure what component this is, but we're replacing it with a brand new one.
And that... is that.
There we go. So this is an engineer, and I'm assuming the ensign will report to him. The lower decks. Okay. I love
I thought
this.
the thing was totally fried.
Oh, a Trill! Hello!
Nice work, Carter.
Nothing to it, Neely.
Nearly the Trill.
And not a moment too soon. The boss wants us down in engineering. Like, now.
Okay, cool. Follow Ed Sillard to engineering. Hang on.
Corrosion in there was pretty extreme. Nothing I couldn't handle, though.
Hold shift to run. I kind of want to know if there's anything else to interact with on the way, though. But you know, we're expected to report immediately, so it's. Oh, hello.
So clean I can see myself. And you know what? Not half bad.
Okay, and the other one.
Come on!
It's. There we go.
Oh. Oh, these are heavier than they look. Makes more sense than zero G. You're welcome.
Carter Diaz!
Okay, I wanted to do a good thing for someone. We are, however, running late, aren't we? Okay, well, let's see. They're working on that section. We're going this way. There's the turbo. No, not the turbo. The, what are the crawlways called? The Jeffries tubes. This is the turbo lift.
Engineering.
I heard the new XO just arrived. Won't be long before we get underway. I just hope whatever Chovok called us down for, it's something good. I can never tell with him. I'd rather not end up degaussing plasma manifolds. Hanging upside down makes me queasy.
Ah, what's the matter, Nilly? Afraid of a little hard work?
A little hard work? Really? A little? 6 months of putting this ship back together is a lot of hard work.
Yeah, and here we are. Just about ready to go.
Looks
Okay.
like we got here before.
Lieutenant
So
Commander
we've
Chovok.
got First Officer.
We were just looking for you, Commander.
Petty Officers Ed Solar, Diaz. I was beginning to think you would be late. We are all hands on deck right now, which means if you are not at your post at the appointed time, I do not have someone to replace you. A point I have been forced to make to Petty Officer Edsolar on repeated occasions.
Apologies for the delay, Commander.
I do not want your apologies. Simply see to it that it does not happen again.
So, I don't suppose you wanted us down here to check in before we go off duty?
Nope, we gotta
Equip
go.
yourselves in EV suits to work
Yep.
on the exterior of the hull. I need you to tune the structural integrity field for optimal performance. The subspace distortions and ionic interference we are experiencing are preventing the proper calibration. But this ship must be ready to depart shortly, despite the storm.
Okay.
The precise nature of these disturbances are not fully understood. But many systems have been affected by the wide band of emissive activity.
Whatever it throws at us, we'll be ready. We've got the best chief engineer in the fleet.
I am a Vulcan, Mr. Diaz. Flattery is not necessary. All that I require is that you do your job. Right now,
Yeah,
that
I
entails
probably
critical
shouldn't have tried
preparations,
flattery
because
with him.
long-range sensors show that these disturbances will be more severe at our destination, the Hotari system. You have your orders. Do not delay.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Roger
Commander
that.
Chovok. All hands on deck.
What's that?
All hands on deck. That's what Chovok said. You know what that means?
We're rushing.
It means this ship isn't ready to go out and the brass know it. So they're throwing every warm body at it. And they're going to leave on schedule.
It all comes down to us, Nilly. We're the ones who will get it ready.
I know what we can do. But this isn't just any old refit or any old relaunch.
Oh, whoa.
Excuse me.
There's... I've forgotten his name.
A lot
I'm
of
bad
new
with
faces
names.
coming on board.
The one
It's
we
gotta
met
be
on the
tough
shuttle
coming
with
as a replacement.
the First Officer.
That's for sure.
They seem all right. Something that happened 6 months ago while they were off on another ship? Well, that's nothing to hold against them.
Yeah, you're right. I guess getting a little new blood on board doesn't hurt. Hold on. Now there's an old face I didn't expect to see again. Hey, Miranda!
You weren't gonna leave without me, were you?
Miranda, you're here?
We thought you were staying on the Adirondack.
Transfer came in at the last minute, so I figured I'd slum it on this bucket of bolts. Looks like you got her back together pretty nicely. I wasn't sure what to expect.
I'm gonna take the high road here, pretend you didn't say that, and welcome you aboard.
He's a better diplomat than I am.
He still owes me a bottle of Saurian brandy. Don't think I forgot.
Okay, so in regards to Carter, we've got Petty Officer Maris. Maris felt encouraged by Carter's warm reception when she first arrived aboard the Resolute, holding out hope there might be some chemistry between them. Okay. Lieutenant Commander Chovok found Carter to be respectful and responsible when he and Ed Lassar were almost late in main engineering. Okay, so we did actually make the right choice, or at least what I think. I mean, I don't know that there's a wrong choice in this sort of game, but I do like being respectful to our superiors. And apparently there's a relationship here between Carter and Maris.
Oh yeah, it's coming back to me now.
Maybe Carter can rustle up that bottle and we can give you a proper welcome. as soon as we wrap up this quick little space.
Saurian brandy. Let's take that. Spacewalk.
Here, let me help you.
I like that we're starting
Thanks.
with a spacewalk.
So what's the word? Are you back in the security rotation?
Yep. Still running with the usual suspects.
Whoa.
Good to go.
Okay.
See you on the other side.
That's really cool.
Activating magnetic souls.
Yep. Magnetic boots, let's go. I really like this. This is a great way to do a Star Trek game. Okay, well, spacewalks are slow. That's to be to be expected.
That view never gets old.
Let's go.
Okay. How far do we have to go to get to where we're sorting this? Or are we switching perspective again? Oh, we are, aren't we? Oh, this is so cool! I love this! So we've got two very similar style games happening at once, because we've got Life is Strange in this one, but that's okay. All hands.
Captain Solano should be here momentarily.
Okay, well, let's take a look around if we've got a moment, or we don't, so never mind.
You'll have to forgive me, I don't know much about Kobleods. But my
Kobleods.
understanding is you need a steady supply of duridium to keep your cell structure stabilized, or bad things start to happen. And we have plenty of duridium in sickbay, so there's no risk of running out.
Thank you.
Feel free to make yourself at home.
Kobleod. I
And
don't
help yourself
recognize
to
that
whatever you like from the
species
replicator.
name. That race name? I'm not sure which way you put it. I do recognize it though, so like in terms of appearance. So maybe I just can't remember the name of the race. That would be the most logical. Model train. Interesting.
He's still got a thing for trains.
Good for him.
The warp engines of their day, apparently.
Okay. What else can we learn?
We'll be out there soon. Going where no one has gone before.
Yep. There's some weird glitches happening. I assume there'll be a patch at some point to fix most of that, but...
I can't believe he keeps this around. Don't even know where mine is.
Okay.
The first mineral Captain Solano ever discovered.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Always was the nostalgic type.
Let's learn what we can about the guy. I mean, apparently she's known him for a while. Oh, an old map of the globe. Like
Can't wait to plot a course myself.
Like an 1800s map. That's really cool.
Just a sip of something.
Ractagino!
Ractagino. That sure has a kick.
What, have you not had Ractagino before?
Jara Rydek. Last time I saw you, it was graduation from the Academy. You'd already secured one of the most prestigious assignments possible. And you were burning with enough ambition to fuel 7 trips around the Necrid Expanse.
It's good to see you again, Captain.
I could not be happier to have you on the Resolute.
This is
The
great.
only regret is that we couldn't provide you with a warmer welcome. The arrival of a first officer to her new ship deserves a bit of fanfare.
Ah,
That would be totally unnecessary. I don't need any pomp and circumstance.
You've been here all of 5 minutes, and already you're trying to make us more efficient. I like it. As I'm sure you've heard, we've had a rough go of it these last 6 months. The ship suffered some damage, but not nearly as much as the crew.
You'll have to forgive me. I don't really know the details.
Starfleet has been kind enough to keep the story contained, probably because they want to protect me. But I don't mind telling you. We were on the verge of a major scientific breakthrough. A quantum leap forward in warp core technology. 10,000 teradynes per second.
Gee.
The ability to travel at a sustained rate of speed longer and faster than we ever dreamed. What would have been the crowning achievement of my career. Right there. Within our grasp. Until it all went so horribly wrong. We pushed her too hard, and a warp core malfunction overloaded the system, creating a pressure gradient way beyond what the ship can handle.
You're lucky the whole thing didn't blow up.
It was heartbreaking. We lost some of our best people. As captain, I have to take full responsibility. It was my decision to make, and I have to live with the consequences.
You have to look to the future. You can't dwell on the past, on things you can't change.
There's nothing that can be done about it now. In my defense, I will say, I might have avoided the whole ordeal if my senior staff had been willing to trust me. There was a lot of pushback from my former XO, and I think that cost me his confidence. I don't want you to pull any punches. Certainly not on my account. But once we decide on a course of action, I need everyone to fully commit to the mission.
Understandable.
Anything short of that just won't work. And that's when things start to go sideways.
Whether I agree or disagree, I can promise that I'll be honest to a fault.
Good. That's exactly what I'm looking for. But at the end of the day, it has to be my call.
Oh, yeah, you're the captain.
I'll be blunt. We can't afford another mistake. Or at least, I can't. I feel like my career is hanging in the balance here.
It's not about
we need
your
a
career.
win. Something to restore the crew's confidence.
I understand.
On a more positive note, Starfleet has tasked us with what they're calling a mission of the highest priority.
Okay.
Escorting a senior diplomat to Hotari space. Two previously peaceful and otherwise non-aggressive civilizations now find themselves on the brink of all-out war.
Right. What
So it's a
civilization?
peacekeeping mission.
I see it as a golden opportunity to not only prove what the Resolute and her crew are truly capable of, but also a mission for which we're uniquely qualified. This ionic storm. Our long-range sensors suggest it's several orders of magnitude stronger than anything on record. A total anomaly like nothing we've seen before. And you'll never guess where it leads.
Hotari.
Exactly. Very nearly in the precise location where we're headed. Where I imagine the interference will be exponentially greater. But the diplomat will brief us on the details of the rendezvous.
But are we prepared to embark on the mission?
As much as I'd like to think that's true, I have my doubts. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. I expect we'll have some rough sledding when we arrive, so I need you to prepare the crew for the worst. There's just one more thing I want to clarify up front. The metric that for me will be the ultimate measure of your success.
What is it?
If after serving as my first officer, you don't one day find yourself with a ship of your own, then I will consider it my personal failure. When that might happen is entirely up to you. But it goes without saying, you have my full support.
It's been a dream of mine since before I can remember. So I would be honored to become a captain someday.
As long as you're willing to do the work, you have my promise. I'll do everything in my power to see that it happens.
Thank you.
Come.
This is cool.
Let me introduce you to the crew.
Cool. Okay, first, Captain Serrano was reassured by Jara's modesty and leadership potential after their first meeting. Nice. I really like the approach they're taking to this game. This is great. I know we're only in introduction part so far, but it's still fantastic. Okay, we have... I'm gonna have to remember names
Everyone,
here.
if I could have your attention for a moment.
Jara
I'd like
Rydek.
to introduce Commander Jara Rydek, our new first officer.
Okay, we're gonna have to say something.
Some quick
probably.
introductions. This is Lieutenant Handar, our helmsman.
Handar the
Best in
helmsman.
the business.
He's
Oh, no.
Bajorn.
Well, what he lacks in humility, he more than makes up for in ability.
A pleasure to meet you, Commander.
He's Bajorn.
Likewise.
Next, we have Commander Westbrook, our Chief Science Officer. I've come to rely on his expert counsel on a regular basis.
Pleasure.
Commander Rydek, it is such an honor to meet you.
Lieutenant.
This is our tactical officer, Lieutenant Bedrosian, who's been looking forward to meeting you for about as long as I can remember.
I've been following your career for quite some time. And I look forward to learning as much as I can from you.
If anything, the honor is mine.
Well, I have to admit, one of the reasons I've followed your career is because you're part Kobliad, because of what you've overcome. Starfleet stands up for people who can't defend themselves.
Kobliad.
And you were one of those people once. But since then, you've done so much to protect others who need it. I really admire that. So, you've been something of an inspiration to me. Not that I've done anything close to what you've done.
I don't know what to say. That's incredibly flattering, thank you.
I hope someday I can follow in your footsteps.
I'm sure you will.
And then, of course, you've already met Commander Ermont.
I like Ermont. He was cool.
Please, do everything you can to make Commander Rydek feel at home here. I'll be on the starbase. I have an urgent
Kobliad.
meeting with the starbase commander to get our authorization to get underway. If they drag their feet any longer,
It's-
we won't make our rendezvous.
Something in the back of my brain
The bridge
recognizes
is
it.
yours.
But I can't tell you, I can't place it. Sit in the captain's seat when you're ready. Well, first we're going to take a look at everything.
Operations. Staffing, supplies. There's a lot to keep track of on a starship. Good thing we have Commander Ermont.
Okay. Piloting is here. Helm.
The helm. The Resolute is a refitted Centaur class, meaning
Centaur
it's capable
class.
of quick maneuvers. Can't wait to see what she can do.
Okay. What's this one? That's Helm. Is this Helm as well? This is Science.
Station. The Resolute is a science vessel, primarily. Might explain Commander Westbrook's attitude. I'll have to speak with him later.
What attitude? Tactical?
Tactical station. Hopefully a diplomatic mission won't require we use our weapons much. But if it comes to that, we'll be ready.
Okay. Bedrosian, that's probably going to be the easiest for me to remember, because Bedrosia is a place they go to in Stargate. The planet, it's the planet with two cultures. They land on one side who believe that their god created the world, and the other culture they're at war with, they believe that the god that brought them to the planet from Earth was essentially an evil god, which is a Goa'uld, and they were right, and they landed on the wrong side. And yeah, it's a good episode, but it's so it'll make that easier for me to remember, because Bedrosian is I can relate to something. Everyone else is going to take some time for me to remember their names.
Communications. Keeps us in contact internally and with other vessels.
Yep.
Turbolift could take me anywhere on the ship, but I'm right where I need to be.
Well, to any other turbo lift point. Okay.
So many decks. Full of crew that are now my responsibility.
Excellent. What's this one? No, doesn't actually say. Okay, well, let's take a seat in the captain's chair, shall we?
The first officer's seat. My seat. Right now, though, I need to fill in for Captain Solano.
Okay, Captain Solano. Let's go. Right, Jack?
Commander, Chief Engineer Chovak needs to lower the structural integrity field. He's sent a crew out to recalibrate the emitters in response to the danger posed by the storm.
Well,
we just need your go-ahead.
Yeah.
Permission granted.
Lowering structural integrity field, now.
Entering maintenance mode. Condition blue.
Okay. So now we switch back over to Carter, and,
The storm is getting worse.
Looks like they
our
turned off
friend,
the Sith.
Great. Let's get to that emitter.
the Trill, who I've forgotten the name of, but I'll learn it eventually.
Every time we're out here, I half expect to see her in pieces again.
She's still got some scars on her. It adds character.
When I joined Starfleet, all I wanted was a ride out of town. But this isn't exactly how I pictured it.
On the outside of the ship?
No. Sometimes it feels like we're just part of the machinery. Don't you want more than that? I mean, Starfleet is noble and all, but it's still a machine. A massive, massive machine.
I am more than that. And so are you. You wanted to get away. I enlisted because I didn't want to wait years just to get out and see the galaxy. I wanted to go somewhere. See new worlds. Look up at a sky no one's ever seen before. Just because I'm cranking a hyperspanner up in a Jeffries tube today doesn't mean that's all I'll ever be.
Okay, and we got some inkling as to how Ed Sillar felt inspired by Carter's words of encouragement during the hull walk. Cool.
Diaz to Commander Chovak. We are at the Sith emitter.
Acknowledged. You may proceed with the recalibration.
Okay, so D and click. And then... It's very linear so far, but that's okay. We've made some impacts in terms of dialogue. Okay, what do we need? Calibration tool.
Beginning recalibration.
Okay, tune the nodes. Okay. Oh, wow.
Careful. Too much action and harmonics will deflect the alignment.
Okay. There we go.
Looks good.
That was
That
complicated.
wasn't so hard.
Why is it beeping?
Commander Westbrook, right? Chief Science Officer.
You remembered my name and my rank. Impressive.
Westbrook.
Yes, I'm the Chief Science Officer, and I have the dubious honor of being the most senior officer on this bridge. I know this ship inside
Which is
and
why
out.
you wanted to get...
Better than just about anyone.
What a very impressive list of credentials.
This is a research and discovery ship, first and foremost. Now with a former tactical officer as its new first officer. I'm curious, though. A Kobliad, or half in your case, is an odd choice for first officer, given your vulnerable condition and all. But if, as an example, we found ourselves in a hostile situation, and you were suddenly incapacitated because you needed an infusion, what would happen then? You'd leave Captain Solano without an XO. Granted, that would be a worst-case scenario.
That's very kind of you to be concerned about my well-being. But you don't need to trouble yourself on my account. I'll be fine.
Well, I wouldn't say I was concerned, just curious, that's all. Listen, can I be blunt, Commander?
I see no reason to stop now.
Commander Sutherland, your predecessor, was one of the best first officers in all of Starfleet. His record was impeccable and his reputation was without equal. I mean no disrespect, but the shoes you're stepping into are almost impossible to fill.
Yep.
He was loved by the crew. And he was one of my closest friends.
I don't think I could ever replace Commander Sutherland. And it would be a mistake to even try.
Seeing as Captain Solano is on the starbase, let me give you an update on this ion storm we're flying into.
There we go. We've earned some respect with him, I think. Commander Westbrook was left with mixed feelings about Jara's suitability as the new first officer as they first met on the bridge. Okay.
It's unusual, unlike anything I've ever seen. At the moment, I can't tell you if the Resolute will shrug it off or if we're putting ourselves at risk. However, if we learn more about its patterns, its nature, we can come up with a scientific countermeasure. Just a moment.
We've got a massive energy wave inbound.
On screen.
Oh, that's bad.
Tracing its trajectory.
Starbase docking clamps are holding.
The storm's emissions are fluctuating, coming in waves. And if my projections are right, we're about to get hit by a wideband burst of ionic energy, like a tsunami.
I'm reading power abnormal.
Red alert.
Aye.
I think Liam O'Brien is playing the Bolian. It sounds like his voice. I could be wrong.
Evacuating main gangway and retracting.
Putting sensor visualization on screen.
With the structural integrity field shut down, we can't take a direct hit.
Time to impact. 1 minute.
Shield systems are severely impacted. We have limited protection.
I need every available solution. What are our options?
We can weaken the impact of the storm with a deflector pulse.
There's a better way.
I'm sending all auxiliary power to the deflector dish.
Send the aux power to the shields. We can't reactivate the entire shield bubble, but it's a directional threat. So we can orient all we have towards the wave. You have to believe me.
I do.
We only get one shot at this. We can't afford to get it wrong.
Bedrosian, get those shields up.
Rerouting power to shields. Stand by.
Go,
I need a
Bedrosian.
heading. We've only got one shot.
Understood. On my command.
Heading locked.
Raise shields.
I don't know if this is the right call, but I'm gonna
This is it.
trust tactical on
All
this.
hands, brace for impact.
That might not have been the right call. Blows.
What happened?
We have experienced a surge of radiation.
Oh, you don't say.
This radiation supercharged the plasma, forcing it to backflush through the system and creating a dangerous imbalance.
That can blow out every primary system on the ship.
Just tell us where you need us.
I need you to traverse the hull to the access port to recalibrate the port nacelle plasma regulator.
Okay. Well, let's get going. I don't know if that was the right call. I actually want to find out what they each thought of that. Commander Westbrook, he was disappointed when she chose not to heed his recommendation to use the deflector pulse. Was thrilled, followed her advice to raise the shields. Yeah, well, we kind of had to make a choice there. I don't
We've reached the first access
know
point.
if it was the right choice.
Understood. Do you see the override for the level 1 failsafe circuits?
But we're gonna stick with it regardless.
Affirmative.
Engage the override.
Okay.
It should allow us to stop the EPS flow to the warp engine without triggering an automatic core shutdown.
Okay.
Failsafe override engaged.
Are you sure? I am registering some crosstalk in the bypass circuit.
We need to route the signals so they don't interfere with each other.
Is that right?
Diaz to Resolute. The failsafes are temporarily disabled. Moving on to the EPS regulator.
Okay.
Heads up, Carter.
What is that?
One of the discharges coalesced.
It's coming right toward us. I'm gonna try to disrupt it with my phaser.
Okay. 1 to equip phaser, aim and fire. Holster.
So we gotta climb up the pylon. Not that there's really an up, but, you know.
Yep, let's get going. 50 meters, that's a distance, isn't it? Okay, well, we gotta clear the path of all these possibly energy beings, knowing Star Trek. Might not be, but they could just be random discharges, but it's Star Trek and the more likely is energy beings. So let's keep moving. Oop. There's so many. Okay, I'll work on this, you hold them off.
Opening the access panel.
I am now halting the EPS flow to the port nacelle. We have little time before it causes an overload in the engine. You must work efficiently.
Yep, going.
EPS manifold adjusters reset to neutral.
Okay. Okay, that's problematic, isn't it? That's the wrong direction, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, we really need over there, right?
The EPS lines to the port warp engine are back in balance. Almost done. Once I cycle the manifold nozzles, Chovak can...
We're coming loose, detach from dry dock before things go bad. The captain! The captain is in trouble.
Get down! Diaz to bridge. We just lost the docking clamp. We've got a lot of debris coming down. All vibrations, too. We can't finish the EPS regulation in these conditions. Please advise.
We have to release this ship from that other docking clamp or the hull will be ripped apart.
There's a problem. The clamps are supposed to disengage automatically in an emergency, but it's not working.
Not working?
What are our options?
The docking clamps are fitted with exploding bolts for an emergency release.
We've got crew out there. That'd be like setting off a bomb next to them.
Maybe there's another way.
Starbase is hailing us.
Put him through.
Resolute, the remaining mooring arm is failing. You need to disengage from the starbase now. The damage to the station will be catastrophic.
We have crew outside and are looking for the
We have
safest way
people
to...
on this station. If that mooring arm breaks, we could lose dozens of crew.
Commander, hear me out. Reverse the polarity of the hull. which theoretically will repel the docking clamps.
And
I'm
repel
following.
the engineering crew right off the hull into the storm.
This is Captain Solano. Put me on screen.
Go ahead. Captain, we have a situation.
Commander, what are you doing? Blow the bolts on the docking clamp.
The captain doesn't know the whole story.
I'm giving you an order.
Captain, you brought me here because you trusted me. Can you trust me now?
You better be sure you make the right decision.
The captain made himself quite clear.
They're gonna get hammered with debris out there. Reverse the polarity.
Yeah, that's what we're doing.
There is protocol.
And there are lives.
Starbase, stand by. We're gonna flip hull polarity to disengage the clamps.
Yes, Commander.
Repair crew, this is Acting Captain Jara Rydek. Be advised, we are going to reverse hull polarity to free us from the remaining docking clamp. Tether yourself and deactivate your boots on my mark.
Understood.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Perfect.
Plasma imbalance is reaching critical condition. We are moments from primary system failure.
I got it.
Okay, well, let's fix this real quick. I couldn't really, it said with both, but I couldn't really do it with both sticks because I only have one W button.
Look out!
Oh, she got hit. Grab her, grab her, grab her.
I got you. Petty Officer Etzelar's hurt and unconscious. I'm gonna have to tow her back to the airlock.
Mr. Diaz, the situation has changed. You are at risk of triggering a substantial electromagnetic arc if you approach the main hull the way you came.
But Commander,
Understood.
the way we came is the nearest airlock.
There is an auxiliary hatch near you on the far end of the pylon. You must bring Miss Etzelar there to access the interior.
And that's what we do.
Roger that. Go in there now.
I mean, look, we asked the captain to trust us. He said yes, so we went with it. If he had said no, do what I said. Then I would have just probably obeyed his order, I guess, but...
You go first.
What?
Let me save your neck this
Not
time.
a chance.
No time to fight me on this. Get in there.
Not on your life.
Let's not let it come down to that.
You're the injured one. I can take a hit if I need to. There we go. Etzelar's okay.
We made it.
They're safe. Bringing the SIF fully online.
Do it.
Well done. What a way to begin a mission. Now the captain's offside with us, but the price of duty.
Nilly.
I'm good. Help me with him.
Let's get this off.
He's gonna have an injury. Nasty one.
Medical. Got one wounded at my location. Carter. You don't look so good. You gotta be more careful. I just got here. I'm not ready to see you two get blown to space dust just yet. Now let's get you down to sickbay.
Okay.
Great.
Now we're gonna deal with the captain, I assume.
Status report.
The repair crew made it inside. EPS flow is back to nominal levels. The SIF is back up.
How does this affect mission readiness, Mr. Ermot?
Releasing the docking clamps using hull polarity minimized damage to the Resolute. We'll have some last-minute repairs to make, but if we reapportion some of the staff, we can make our departure on time. As of now, however, we are successfully moored to the station.
Good to hear. Send updates to my ready room. Commander Rydek, with me.
Yep, absolutely. Understood. Understand we're about to be reprimanded, probably. I'll justify it.
You disobeyed my orders.
You weren't on the ship and you didn't have all the facts.
Well?
I'm sorry for that, Captain. I did what I thought was...
You disobeyed my orders! And not just in front of the bridge crew, but the Starbase staff as well.
No.
That's going to get around. My name's already tarnished around the fleet.
You were not fully aware of the facts,
my
and
credibility
I asked you to
on this
trust
ship?
me. You said yes.
From the top to the bottom. Bridge to lower decks.
Captain, I told you I'd be honest, so here it is. Maybe I shouldn't have disobeyed a direct order, but you were wrong. You weren't on board, and you didn't have all the information. So I made the right decision for the ship. If you're worried about your credibility, put your ego aside and trust your crew. Trust me.
You might have won some fans on the bridge with that stunt, but not everyone. Lieutenant Commander Chovak has already bent my ear.
I'm sure he doesn't take it personally. He'll get over it in time.
Mr. Chovak is more complicated than he would want to admit. I guess we all are. And, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure what I would have done in the moment either. You never really know if you weren't in those shoes. So, let's just boil it down to, you did what you had to. That'll have to be good enough for me.
You placed a lot of trust in me, bringing me here. I feel like I've let you down.
I brought you here for a reason. I'm still sure it was the right one. Despite it all, we got our final Starfleet clearance to depart. So if you'll fetch Mr. Ermot, we'll knock out the final details of any outstanding repairs, and then we'll set out for Hotari.
Yes, sir.
Gee, the dialogue's really quiet in this game for some reason. I was trying to repair the relationship with the captain. I probably just should have said thank you for understanding, but I didn't. Because I'm pretty sure I did the right thing.
All departments reporting full mission readiness. We've got our full complement on board.
This is my favorite moment, right now.
The start of a new mission is always full of possibility.
The Orion Syndicate could sell it as a drug.
Don't let the Admiralty hear you say that.
Captain on the bridge.
Sit. Sit, everyone. You all know, I'm not big on speeches. We're embarking on the first mission since our refit. Let's make it a good one. Disengage docking clamps.
Engage.
Docking clamps released.
Thrusters ahead, Mr. Handar.
This is great. I'm loving this. What a great Star Trek game.
That should do it. Set a course for the Hotari system. Prepare to go to Warp 8.
Aye, Captain.
You know what? You take this one.
Me? Helm. Make way.
I wanted to do something unique. I mean, Engage is a classic, but... you can't beat a unique one.
Make way.
It's a sailing term.
I know that.
I love that.
Easy.
Thank you. I'm fine. Really,
You don't look so good.
She hasn't taken her, Beryllium.
I have to get to sickbay.
Go.
Commander, help me get her inside!
So there are complications for being half human, I guess.
Well, that was quite a scare. A few minutes more and it would have been one of the shortest tenures on record for a first officer.
Is that the engineer that was out on the hull?
That storm did a real number on him, but he'll live. Just needs rest. You should worry about yourself. Your Deridium
I'd like
levels
to
got
meet the
dangerously
engineer.
low and destabilized your cell structure.
This is definitely one of the more memorable first days I can think of.
My name is Dr. Aram Duval, Chief
Duval?
Medical Officer.
Okay.
To be honest, I've never met a Kobliad before. You're...
rare. I know.
I was going to say special. Your people's numbers have dwindled, despite the Federation's efforts to find a more readily available alternative to the Deridium you need to survive. Yet you joined Starfleet...
I guess it
and
can't be
managed to
replicated
thrive.
then.
I imagine the responsibility must be overwhelming. Maybe even a burden at times.
Yeah.
I know what it means. And I know the responsibility that comes with it. But I can't be anything more than who I am. And if someone has a problem with that, or expects something else, then that's their problem, not mine.
That's exactly right. And don't worry, I won't treat you like a science experiment. I just do the science and leave the experiments to Solano.
You don't agree with his methods?
I don't agree with his definition of acceptable risks.
Yeah, well, that
When the
I
lives
was
of your
getting.
crew are at stake. My professional opinion is that the accident took a toll. More than he's willing to admit. He's overstressed, operating in the pressure cooker of his own mind. Which is never a good headspace when the lives of your crew are at stake. What concerns me is that now he's even further away from the thing he's been chasing his entire career. Breakthrough discovery. The major innovation. Something he can put his name on.
I think after what happened, Captain Solano's learned his lesson. And whatever ambition he once had is on hold for a while.
He may say that, but we'll see what happens.
No,
And I have to give you credit for what happened on the bridge. It took guts to defy a direct order.
I didn't defy it. I asked if I could, and he said yes.
Fast around here.
It's a small ship, and everyone's curious about the new XO. Fortunately, your cell structure is almost completely stabilized. And I'll spare us both the lecture, but I do feel it's my responsibility to remind you, without regular infusions of Duridium, you will not live. It's as simple as that.
Yep.
Understood.
And my work here is done.
Duridium. Can we speak to yeah.
Lieutenant Bedrosian.
I came to see if you were okay.
I'm good.
We were all pretty worried on the bridge. No one knew what was happening.
I don't want anyone to worry. This is just part of who I am. It doesn't define me.
Of course. I completely understand. And I would probably feel the same way if I were you. You trusted me earlier with the shields, and I appreciated that. I want you to know that I have your back.
Thank you.
It seemed like the best option. The two presented, short time to
Now,
think,
Carter,
it seemed like the best
the
option.
missions that gave you that burn are quite unusual, like everything else that goes with this storm. That's a combination of hyronolin and lectrazine to counter the radiation effects. That should help speed your healing. She's come by a couple of times to see you already.
Yeah, well, she's got a thing for us, apparently.
Be brief.
It's good to see you awake again. I was starting to get worried. Not that you aren't in good hands with Dr. Duvall.
I hear you've been checking in on me. Thanks for that.
One of the benefits of working a security rotation. Lots of opportunities to walk by sickbay and stop in. Millie was looking in on you too, by the way. But since it's just us right now, I had a chance to think about this while I was away. And I thought it was important that I just come out and tell you. Instead of tiptoeing around it. Or worse.
It's okay, Miranda. You can tell me anything.
I know that.
Then come on. Just spit it out.
I'm trying. Let me talk. What I'm trying to say is, we've been really good friends for a long time. But I got back here and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I want to see if there's more between us than just being friends.
Right,
Are you sure about this?
They're my feelings. Of course I'm sure.
Well, I just mean, seeing me in here, after we almost got killed out on the hull.
I felt this way before that, Carter. I like you. And I think there could be something more for us. So, what do you say?
Why not?
I like you too, Miranda. And I'd like to see where this goes.
Good. I was really hoping you'd say that.
Sorry to interrupt, but the patient needs to rest if he wants to get back to his old self.
Of course. I'll see you again soon.
Okay. I'm not sure. But, you know, could make for an interesting story, so may as well.
Approaching the rendezvous point outside Atari space.
Helm, bring us out of warp.
Dropping to impulse.
Whoa.
Ionic interference surging, Captain. Shield integrity holding.
We can take it.
We are at the correct coordinates to meet the shuttle.
Commander Rydek, find us our diplomat, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Aye, Captain. Let's reduce the noise. Filter out environmental signals. I can manually tune what's left for Federation signal types.
Okay, moving the mouse to do this is kind of awkward, and I can't see the progress. Oh, there we go, because I'm not doing it right. Okay, this is really stupid and awkward, and apparently if I go too fast it doesn't recognize what I'm doing. Okay, so
I've
mouse
located
is
the
not
shuttle.
the greatest
Opening
for that.
comms.
On screen.
Shuttle
It's-
to Resolute. Shuttle to Resolute. Debris field. Lost maneuvering.
Okay, well then let's tractor beam it.
Losing.
I can't get it any clearer.
Tractor beam and transporters, quick.
You won't get a transporter lock. It's just not happening.
Tractor beam.
Power up the tractor beam.
Yeah.
We'll pull them directly into the docking bay.
Diaz, you good to run the tractor emitter?
Yes, sir.
You sure?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Come on, Diaz. First thing, lock onto the shuttle and stabilize the rotation.
Okay, we got it. Okay. Okay,
We're pulling in debris.
I'm on it.
and then this one. There we go. What do we do about that one?
That's gonna take out the shuttle. Diaz, the bridge. There's a large piece of debris headed for the shuttle. The tractor beam can't handle it.
Can our shields take it?
I believe so.
Commander Ryder, plot an intercept course.
Yes, sir.
On it. Here we go. Maneuvering thrusters bearing 53 Mark 17.
I think I did
200
that
meters
right.
on an intercept course.
Maneuvering.
Got it.
Whoa! Someone's working hard on the bridge.
Okay. There we go, and the shuttle's in. I've never seen the tractor beam work like actually properly being worked. That is fantastic to see. I love this. This is a great way to do a game.
We've got the shuttlecraft on board.
Good job. We're on our way down to meet them.
Okay. So, on board we have someone he knows, probably. Spock!
Terra firma.
Someone everyone knows.
Ambassador Spock. The captain will be right down to meet you, sir.
In that case, I will wait for him here.
Whoever's doing the voice of Spock is doing a great job. It's very, very good. Do you want to maybe talk?
Apologies for the landing, Ambassador. I was operating the tractor beam, sir. I take responsibility.
Our arrival was the smoothest part of our journey. Your artistry with a tractor beam is commendable. We thought we were prepared for our arrival in Hotari space, but it is evident my craft was not sufficiently robust for such intense ionic activity.
The storm has been pretty intense.
There was an element that was most unusual. Before you came to our aid, our maneuvering thrusters and impulse engines were rendered inoperable.
That sounds
So we
like
attempted a
sabotage.
short traversal at warp speed, only to find that we could not achieve warp at all, even though our diagnostics computer showed no faults or anomalies. What do you make of that? When all indications say that warp speed is possible, but in practice, we find it is not.
Well, this storm is one of the strangest phenomena we've ever encountered. It's disrupted other systems. Who knows what it might do to a warp drive?
Yes, it would seem further investigation is called for.
Take readings, run some additional diagnostic checks, and we'll get to the bottom of this.
Quite logical. Petty Officer...
Carter Diaz. Sir.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ambassador Spock.
Excuse me.
I'm honored to have you aboard. I'd like to get right to it. We're already behind.
That was great. Sorry, I'm just stuck in that
Ambassador
moment.
Spock,
that was great.
my senior staff.
This is... Spock's here.
It's not every day that a captain gets to welcome a Starfleet legend aboard.
You flatter me, Captain Solano. But legend implies the past tense, whereas I am very much focused on our present circumstances.
I didn't mean to suggest you were stuck in the past. You're right, Ambassador. Not the most diplomatic choice of words.
You are a legend, Ambassador. There's not an officer in Starfleet that doesn't know of your career.
I would never assume that to be the case.
We were hoping you could fill us in on the details. We got the basics from Starfleet. Two formerly peaceful neighbors are now on the brink of war.
Indeed, and the tension between them grows fiercer by the hour. Elydia and Hotari.
Okay.
Elydians are the more advanced species. They made first contact with the
they're
Hotari over a
brand new
century ago.
races.
This is Tau, the Hotari moon. It is rich in dilithium, and for decades, the Hotari and the Elydians have shared a mining operation there.
What happened?
The Elydians provide the technological resources, while the Hotari have served as the labor force. The stability of that arrangement was the source of their peace, until recently. The Hotari have suddenly and forcefully seized control of the mining operations and expelled the Elydians from their system.
Well, it's their system. They have the right to, in all technicality.
That is the official story, as told by the Hotari when they requested Federation mediation. But the details remain scant. Communications between all parties have been limited by the ionic interference.
How is it the Hotari were able to turn the tables and take the mines against superior forces, especially after decades in this arrangement?
Unclear. The answer to that question may be the key to a new, lasting peace, and one that I hope we can uncover during these negotiations. But it is unlikely the relatively primitive Hotari forces would stand a chance against the Elydian fleet if this escalates to open war. Left unchecked, this conflict will result in more bloodshed, which is what we are here to prevent.
And the dilithium trade hangs in the balance.
Clearly, the Hotari have been exploited in this relationship.
Maybe we can persuade them peace is the more profitable alternative for everyone. They both profited from the mines. And for the Hotari, something is better than nothing. Peace is our objective, after all.
If we could convince them, it would restore the peace. But we would need the Hotari to accept a difficult compromise.
Made all the more difficult by the emotions flaring on both sides, no doubt.
Neither the Elydians or the Hotari are members of the Federation, so we can't make them do anything.
There is an additional complicating factor I should mention. In the past, the Federation has relied on the Illydians as a source of dilithium.
Right.
That certainly changes things.
Federation sources its dilithium from a lot of places.
Yeah, and this is one of them.
That means the Hotari have no reason to trust us.
I wouldn't go that far, Commander.
We are completely neutral in this matter, on neither one side nor the other. Any suggestion otherwise would compromise our position. Given the Federation's involvement in the Illydium dilithium trade, Captain Solano and I must make every effort to appear neutral in these negotiations.
What worries me is if this whole thing unravels, and we're at the mercy of the storm at less than full strength.
We can't let it come to that.
Considering what the Ion Storm has done to our ship, and the Ambassador's shuttle, we have to assume the Illydian fleet has had problems with it as well. This recent surge in the energy disturbance temporarily levels the playing field.
Commander Westbrook is correct. The energy anomalies around the Hotari systems have been noted in the past.
That may answer why the Hotari were able to strike back after so long. They finally had an opportunity, and they took it.
That would also explain the Illydians' restraint.
And reason to learn as much about the energy anomaly as we can while we are here. We do not want to be caught at a disadvantage of our own. So I trust we understand our circumstances.
We're operating on a strict timetable here, and we're going to be leaving for the negotiations shortly. Commander Westbrook, I want you to leverage our systems to investigate the anomaly from here while we're gone.
Aye, Captain.
Thank you all.
Dismissed.
I want to speak to both of you privately.
Okay.
Ambassador Spock, I'd like to make a formal introduction. My first officer, Commander Jara Rydek.
Commander, as you are aware, there are limits to what Captain Solano and I can do in our official capacity as representatives of the Federation. But someone in an unofficial capacity, your first officer, for example, would not be bound by those restrictions. Commander Rydek could ingratiate herself to certain parties behind the scenes, where they may be more candid in revealing information that could lead to a resolution.
She certainly goes her own way. Maybe that helps in this case.
I'm honored to be included in the negotiation process.
You're not just included, you are instrumental.
Well, I hope Commander Rydek will have more luck finding out what really happened than we will through official diplomatic channels.
The fate of the negotiations, the interests of the Federation, and the prospect for peace may very well depend.
Lay it all on my shoulders, why don't you? Okay, well, assuming that's a good place to leave it, thank you for joining me for the first episode of Star Trek Resurgence. What a story so far. Navigational complexities. I'm going to pause it there while we can. I'm going to read through all of this real quick. So, ultimately he was thankful when Jara defied Captain Solano's orders and made her own command decision in the moment. Applauded Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano. Excellent. Okay. Ambassador Spock noticed Jara's support of Captain Solano and her distinct perspective on the dynamics of the Hotari-Illydian conflict due to the mission briefing. Ambassador Spock also noted Jara's humility when presented with her back-channel mission. Okay. Captain Solano still had misgivings about his orders being defied, but remained willing to place his trust in his new first officer to live up to expectations. Lieutenant Bedrosian admired Jara's instincts to protect the crew when the starbase ordered her to disengage the docking clamps, and she thought highly of Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano, and she was relieved when Jara defied Captain Solano's orders and made her own command decision in the moment. Okay. Commander Ermont was glad. Okay, Commander Ermont. Yeah, I don't think the color changes. Commander Ermont was glad Jara's first instinct was to protect the crew when the starbase ordered her to disengage the docking clamps, and appreciated Jara's efforts to explain the complexity of the situation to Captain Solano. Commander Ermont respected Jara's rational approach when she defied Captain Solano's orders and refused to put the crew on the whole at risk. Dr. Duval understood Jara's loyalty to her captain, but was encouraged to see her thinking independently when she defied Captain Solano's orders. Lieutenant Commander Chovek did not approve of Jara's unwillingness to follow protocol when she defied Captain Solano's orders to blow the bolts from the docking clamps. Ensign Calloway, so that's still the other part. Okay, over here. Edsela was grateful when Carter put her safety ahead of his own out on the hull. Miranda was thrilled to learn Carter's feelings for her tend toward romantic, and she looks forward to seeing where this relationship might go. Lieutenant Commander Chovek found Carter to be respectful. Okay, yeah, so that is all of that, and then we've got, what to do with all of these different controls. The controls are a little bit weird on PC, I will say that. It certainly wasn't built for it, but I think that's a good place to leave this first episode, as I said. So thank you for joining me for this first episode of Star Trek Resurgence. Have a good one, be kind to yourself, be kind to each other, and I will see you next time. Bye.